Shalom, friends. It's Rabbi Jenny Solomon from Beth Meyer Synagogue here with a Mincha moment. I want to thank everybody for sending so much love and support and healing energy to our son, Adi. I shared earlier this week that he was riding his bike and was actually hit by a car, if you can imagine that. I know he is not the only one to have had an accident like that, and it is certainly life-changing. So I want to thank everyone for your thoughts and prayers and kind words. They have helped heal my Ima heart, and I want to just affirm again that Adi is recovering beautifully. He is so incredibly resilient and strong of body and mind. And he is already back on a bike as of yesterday. So thank you for that. And I figured actually that experience that I shared might be an opening for me to talk a little bit about how I use and work with anxiety and worry as it arises in my own spiritual practice. In particular, in mindfulness practice and in prayer. Because after all, we are human beings, and the experience of worry and anxiety is part of being human. And when we enter into intentional mindfulness practice or prayer, we don't leave our humanness behind and suddenly find a seat or open up our prayer book and leave that behind us. We bring it with us. And I want to suggest that it's completely understandable that we would want to turn away, to deny, to repress, and just simply to leave worry and anxiety behind. Trust me, my very strong instincts when we got home from the emergency room with Adi were to bubble wrap him and never let him out of my sight again. And when he got on a bike again yesterday, my God, I had to utilize all of my my spiritual tools to move through those moments when he went off on his way. But I don't think we can leave all of that worry and anxiety behind when we enter into spiritual practice. And in fact, I think that our spiritual practice is an amazing opportunity and field and holding space to work with those very human feelings. So the first thing that I use in my practice is just to notice that those feelings are in fact arising. And I used to think about my anxiety as a liability, something that brings me harm that I wish I didn't have. And I've come to see actually that it's an amazing kind of evolved, if not at times overactive, but it's a highly evolved inner sense that is looking out to protect me from harm, to protect me from pain and from sorrow. And so when I look at it that way, it frees me up a little bit from that kind of negative valence, and instead allows me to see that those feelings that arise are actually there to help me. If I can be aware and if I can work with them in an adaptive way. And again, this is part of our humanity. It would be like wishing that the sun wouldn't shine so bright or that the trees wouldn't grow leaves. I mean, it's just part of the nature of our being. So the first thing I do is simply just notice that these feelings, these thoughts are arising. And they do actually arise quite powerfully when I enter into my spiritual practice, because I intentionally open and make space, get a little bit more quiet and more still. So that is an easy place for me to notice. And as I notice, I create a little bit more space. It's a little bit kind of a slower way of being with what's happening, and a little bit more space so that I can notice, in fact, what is happening. And as I notice, I then have the opportunity to allow those feelings, thoughts, sensations to exist in a field of compassion, in a field of gentleness, of kindness. And then I have a better ability to decide how I want to meet those feelings, to do something that is soothing to myself, to sort of hold those feelings within a context or a story that makes sense or that feels really actually true to this moment, rather than some kind of story I've spun many, many times in the past. And to see if I might actually be able to just honor the experience and be grateful for that sense that is actually, again, trying to protect me from harm, trying to prepare me for potential difficulty to come. And so this is not like very glamorous work, but it's very human work, and it feels really important in my own spiritual path and practice. And so I hope this is helpful to you. So if you find yourself moving into a prayer moment or a meditation moment or something else, getting on the mat, and you find that feelings of worry and anxiety are accompanying you, I encourage you to welcome them, to create some gentle and compassionate space to be with them, to hold them, to sort of hold them in the frame of kind of coming back into the body and the reality as things actually are, rather than as we fear them to be. To notice what feels true, what is not so true, and ultimately to be grateful that this too is part of our wholeness, part of our being, not something to be swept under the rug or denied or repressed or disassociated, but is in fact part of our human thriving, part of this experience of being alive. So I join you in wanting to bubble wrap all of our loved ones, to never let them get on the bike, whatever that might mean in their lives or in your life. But I don't want to live that way, and I don't want my kids to live that way. And so we practice and train in working with worry and anxiety so that when we are out in our lives, we can live with greater wholeness and holiness and fullness, aliveness. All right. Shalom, friends. Peace.